say, God bless our troops, God bless America, and gentlemen, start your engine!
Well, it's another season in the next generation stock car, and the QSR Simulations Next Gen Series is set to go here tonight, live from Daytona International Speedway. QSR Simulations Next Gen Cup Series Duels at Daytona. Welcome in, everybody. I'm your host, well, handing it off as the host, Bradley Cooper, and Wesley Outland is going to be our lead commentary here tonight. Wesley, thank you for joining me up in the broadcast booth. It's been a long time coming. We've been talking about this for a minute, getting you in on a show. I'm excited for what we have this Tuesday night.
Feels like last year you were knocking the door down, basically trying to get a hold of my reservations and seeing when I could be able to be in the broadcast chair with the V-Speed Network. And finally, the stars have aligned, and it is ready for the lid lifter of the Season 3. Now, the big points race is next Tuesday night for our Daytona World Center of Racing lid lifter for the QSR Next Gen Cup Series. But a little appetizer, if you will, Bradley, is tonight, and that is the QSR Cup Series duels at Daytona. Two 20-lap races, 50 miles each, that will determine where we go for next lineup for next Tuesday's big race, obviously.
Schedule up on your screen as well, and you look here at this long schedule going all the way down to the championship race, November 25th. It's going to be a long ways away after Thanksgiving where we settle this all up at Kansas Speedway. But there it is on your screen. And we talk a little bit about Daytona. This racetrack hasn't changed much at all over the years. International Speedway replacing the beachfront property that they used to race at. And this is modeled off of Talladega. Talladega, actually, a lot of people don't know, came first before this track was thought up. But then, you know, it was a matter of construction time to put Daytona on the map, and it is the biggest event in stock car racing. Most sporting events have it at the end of the season. These guys do it right out the gate.
You're correct, man. It came down to landscapers and getting people that were involved in the real estate side of things to try to make the track to be up and going and ready to go. And basically the decision was made, okay, we need to get more investors to build in Talladega. A lot of people were scared of what Talladega was. Well, Bill France and Smokey Unick and some other people said, okay, listen, this is what we'll do. We'll knock off about a half mile or so. Let's show you another version of what I want to do. I want to get away from the beaches of Daytona. I want to build a speedway like this. And, you know, I'm not taking anything away from Talladega. It's prestige. It is exciting. It is wild. It is fun. It is the biggest track in motorsports, or the world for that matter, in oval statistics. But with that said, though, Bradley, Daytona is like Indianapolis to open wheel and Indy cars. It is the home of stock car racing. It is the home of the Super Bowl, the Daytona 500, and obviously every league that I've ever worked with in the esports realm always kicks it off at Daytona. Same thing here tonight for the QSR Cup Series.
There's the race analysis on your screen. Dual event here with 20 laps. Each duel will settle the inside and outside row of your grid. Pit road speed limit 60 miles per hour. 2 tire sets available. Most likely won't have to use them, but 1 green-white checkered attempt. There is a strong likelihood that we'll have to use that, as we'll have a lot of new names, a lot of new drivers out here getting used to one another. And this next-gen stock car is very, very momentum-based. It sucks up on the draft. It'll pull right behind another car. In the blink of an eye, you could pull 3 or 4 positions down the backstretch.
20 laps the distance, as we mentioned, and all of this going on as these drivers will be ready to go here. Again, as we mentioned, 2.5 miles on the layout. That is the World Center of Racing. 31 degrees of banking in the corners. 2.5 miles to super stretch down the back straightaway. That long front tri-oval, just some of the sights. And here's something to think about also, Bradley. We're racing under the lights. And if I remember correctly, there's no fast repair. No fast repair in this series. So the key is, I would say, if I was in this race right now, Bradley, mind you, new to the V-Speed and the QSR family, but if it was me, I would get out in line, just kind of be patient, stay tucked, just kind of knock out laps, get to halfway, and then start to show what you've got that last 10 laps. And obviously, then you see where the chips fall for where you be for the race for next Tuesday.
Yeah, there's a kind of a time to go and a time to wait. And this racetrack, especially with 20 laps, though, on the schedule here for this event, it looks like you don't have a lot of time to think about it. So you want to find a dancing partner early, get comfortable, and hopefully find your way to the outside line, where I think most likely these guys are going to create the momentum. But, you know, Daytona is notorious for getting really narrow on the exit of turn 4. And when you're coming across that tri-oval, guys like to kind of bobble that apron. So you got to be careful and pay close attention. And while we have a moment here, I am going to pull in the QSR CEO, Quentin Stewart, into the broadcast booth. And Quentin, we talked a little bit briefly there about how things have been ran. And it looks like the numbers are up this time. Big turnout here for the duels. It seems that I've lost contact with...
We had him and we lost him. We had him and he lost him. I see he's on camera, and I do see the field is gridding. Maybe we could try to grab him back here again here in just a few moments. So, yeah, that's, of course, Quentin Stewart and one of the folks that are behind what is the QSR Next Gen Cup Series. By the way, this is season number 3, ready to roll here as these drivers do get into place. We're going to try to bring back in Quentin, I think, real quickly. Can we try to bring him in one more time before we do the lineup? Quentin, it's the broadcast booth. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I'm not sure what happened there, but I am back.
Well, Quentin, we were talking about the turnout here, and it's pre-season, what we can do to get this league bigger and bigger, and it looks like it has paid off. Look at the turnout here tonight. We have 30-plus cars.
Yeah, it's beautiful. You know, and this is just heat 1. You know, we're gonna have a full another or duel 1. We're gonna have a full another duel here in just a little bit. Following this one, so it's gonna be an interesting one. A whole bunch of people battling to get to the front of their respective rows. So I'm really excited to see how this one plays out. I'm gonna be admin in this one with Ethan Wisnowski. So it's gonna be a fun little event, I think.
Well, Quentin, I'm looking forward to being a part of the play-by-play team with V-Speed and with the QSR Next Gen Cup Series especially. What's something that is for somebody new for me, but for somebody that might be watching, what is different to come for Season 3 this year?
A whole lot more competitiveness. We have esport teams in here this season. A whole lot more commitment from our drivers. Guys have been working really hard in the offseason doing testing with their respective teams. So it's gonna be a tough battle all season long, and I think we're gonna have a whole bunch of different winners this season. I think it's going to be really competitive, and it's going to be a really good time. And most importantly, we're going to have a lot of fun. So,
rock and roll. We'll quit and we'll try to grab you a little bit later on if we can, sir. I know you got to get to work in admin. Looking forward to being a part of the team. Ladies and gentlemen, the CEO of the QSR Quentin Sim Racing program of the Next Gen Cups, that is on V-Speed, Mr. Quentin Stewart. And with that said, Bradley, it is time to take a look at the starting lineup for duel number 1. He's going to get to work in race officiating, and we get ready to go in the booth here. Take a look, and by the way, if you'd like to know more about V-Speed, go to vspeedsim.com. Brantley Bryant in the Chevrolet, and Trevor Trago will be on the front row for the first duel. Row number 2 on the grid will find the drivers of Dylan Pickelsheimer alongside with Blake Giglio. Row number 3, you will see Bradley Wilson and Kenny Frisbee making up row 3. Row 4 on the grid, finding for duel number 1, looking for the drivers of Jason Blaney and Jesse Gordon. And finally, your top 10 in the row number 5, Bradley will find Ryan Philbrick and Alan Dobbs in the 54. That's about the midway point of duel number 1's top 10 starters.
Jeremiah Nelson will start in 11th spot with Austin Thomas rounding on the row number 6. Row number 7 to Fred Pennington. Norman King starting 14th. Number 45 of Chris Otto will start in 15th position with Thomas Aaron in 16th. And 2 more rows with Christian Ruck-Regal, Chase Lay in the 18th spot. And then it's Anthony Burleson and John Freeman rounding out your field.
So there's the lineup. As we mentioned, half the field. Lights are off already on the pace truck, and we're about ready to go. Duel number 1 to set the lineup for big race in Daytona next Tuesday. It's time to bring the action. V-Speed style QSR Duel 1 underway in Daytona. Watch the scoring pylon up on the top left. When it pops into view, you'll be able to keep up with what's going on. And Bryant here, Bradley, will get the whole shot and lead the virtual thundering herd into turn 2.
We got a car off the racetrack already. It's the 110 of Jesse Gordon. He dropped out of this draft down the entrance at turn 1. Got another car down the racetrack. That's the 9 of Pickelsheimer, already having problems. Pickelsheimer with a connection issue.
Oh, no, that is heartbreak for Pickelsheimer. Don't want to have that happen in the early going. As right now, Blaney and Bryant stay locked side by side in a tandem with Bryant and Nelson now. Blaney to the lead, the 22 down to the inside. Here they come to the line. 1 in, 19 to go. 50 miles will fly by quick. We're already 2.5 miles down, and they're setting their way into turn 1, Bradley.
An outside line already starting to work as Brantley Wilson gives a push to Brantley Bryant, gets him ahead by a car length. You can see these splitters, the diffusers on the sides and back of this car scraping the racetrack. That's how much downforce they have.
What a fun racetrack the World Center of Racing Daytona the International Speedway is. 2.5 miles super speedway, 4.023 kilometers, 40 feet with 12 to 30 foot apron, 31 degrees of banking as Bradley Wilson sells him off the corner. He battles Bryant on the high side. Look for the new leader, Bryant, the red car. He's got a push with Trago. He's behind with also Giglo, and Giglo pushes those cars on the outside. Now the 37 out of line. He'll get side by side with Bryant for the lead in 1.
It's one after another, dropping to the bottom, moving to the inside. Just keep finding it here. What can you do to get yourself in a position to win this event? We're already approaching that quarter of the way mark, and these guys are racing side by side all the way back to the 17th position.
Back into the corner, 31 degrees of banking in turn 3 and 4. Here comes now Blaney with a push up the inside. He'll make a move by Bryant. Nelson will follow. Here comes the 48 Ally, and what a shift move from the inside to the outside. That's Giglio. Giglio and Bryant now door to door, and they throw the block on Pennington and Frisbee heading to turn one.
Trying to break that momentum of that outside line, but this 16 car is having some handling struggles.
And we got one Sparky bottoming out maybe as they work off the corner. That was the Philbrick car. He'll get back in tow when they were single file. Not for long though. Here they go again. Bradley outside lane. Watch Nelson to the 48, and he's got Pennington as his wingman up on the top.
Watching a lot of admins review this race right now. These guys talking to one another, trying to figure out, was there any foul play there with the start of the race? Jesse Gordon going on the racetrack might have had a push and a little bit of help as we go 3 wide back here. Looks like the 16, he was making those elevator moves. It looks like he's pinched in the middle now.
Something we'll have to watch is right now the 18 of Frisbee up at the top of the racetrack at one time, now shuffled all the way to the back. As right now we'll see him try to get back in line in 15th. It is Trego now, the new leader, the 37 to the lead. And look at what happened to the outside lane. That is Nelson. That is the driver of Pennington and Bryant. No, correction. Nelson and Pennington, they're free-falling like lyrics to the Tom Petty song of the 80s. Working off turn 4. They cannot get something going up top. They've got to find friends here through the tri-oval, Bradley. And now they got to shuffle back to the bottom going to 1.
There's a freight train on the inside. They lost about 10 positions back to the tail end of this field. Going into turns 1 and 2, the outside is reconstructing. It's kind of like the eye wall of a hurricane they're oh so familiar with down here in Central Florida. It's going to be a tough battle, though. A lot of momentum on that inside as Trevor Trego continues to hold the lead by about a full second over the rest of those guys on the outside.
Working lap number 6 to be completed, 5 of 20 for a quarter through the distance. As right now we watch this going on into turn number 4. Trego now shows the lead. That's the teal green and silver primer color machine up in front. Wilson second, Blaney third. And honestly, as we watch a little shuck and jive happen mid-pack, the top 20 still nestled with one another up the banking going to turn 1.
And a cheerleader in the background there. Just do it. And we've got a car off the racetrack.
That's Thomas on board with Thomas there. I love it, man. He's got a little motivational. If people don't know who that is Shia LaBeouf, and he is the man behind Transformers and all sorts of other movies. Yes, that's him. So he's got a pretty good motivational speaker helping him there. And we have a caution on the racetrack in the early going. Lap number 7 of 20. We're working complete, and there is a caution. I want to say it might be Giglio there with a problem, and let's see what happened to him here.
This is back a little bit after it happened, but we'll back it up one more time, and you see the 93 shot into the outside wall, and the 16 maybe help him out there a little bit. Let's back this up one more snap from our blimp camera.
What a tough break there for the 16 of the 93 involved in that accident. That'll put us under our first caution of the race here. By the way, that's Blake Giglio and Thomas Aaron involved in an accident as Trevor Trego, Bradley Wilson, Jason Blaney, Ryan Philbrick, and Chris Otto. Right now, your top 5. The question is anybody coming to pit lane? My answer, I think, is probably no right now. I think track position is more important than coming down to the pits. What do you think, Bradley? Do you think they're going to prove me wrong?
I would say the top 10 is going to stay out. These guys that got involved in that incident might take it down there, but there's really no benefit. We've barely put any time on these tires. I don't see it happening.
Trego leading the way right now, as we forementioned, up in front. The driver, of course, for the QSR Next Gen Cup Series, duel number 1, up at the top spot. As we see some guys coming down to the pit lane. Wilson, Bryant, Frisbee, Dobbs. Guys in the back are coming down to the pits, but other than that,
well, that was second place
the
there
driver.
With Wilson.
Yeah,
actually peeled off. So that's surprising there.
And we will be closing in on the halfway mark of duel number 1 as well. These drivers are boxing in, taking tires and fuel. And I would say this, Bradley, if you're up in the front, track position is important. But if you're in the back, you're not losing anything if you do come down to the pit lane, take on new 4 freshies and add on Sunoco fuel and get back out here on the racetrack again and try to make a push for the finish of duel number 1, no doubt.
Yeah, the push there is that if you have a little bit fresher tires, we're watching this setup bottom out on this racetrack. I think for the most part, they're not even really using the tires. They're driving these skateboards around here. They're just grinding around this high banking. And I think right now it's a matter of, do we want to add fuel? Maybe that's part of the factor. If we burn this fuel off, these guys staying out, maybe the back end of this car will get a little bit lighter and they'll have a better time at handling it. But right now, it just looks like it's out of control.
But we are under the caution in the early going. Step away, take a break. Can we do that? Got commercials, people
Absolutely.
we want to thank? We're going to do
Absolutely.
that. Back with more from Daytona. Here nearing the halfway point. V-Speed coverage, QSR. Next Gen Cup Series. Duel 1, Daytona, taking it to the second half when we return.
God bless our troops. God bless America. And gentlemen, start your engine!
Pace truck is onto the pit lane. Thanks for joining us on V-Speed as we come back to the Geico restart zone. Green flag back in the air. QSR, Daytona, Duel 1 back underway. 10 down, 10 to go. Now make it 9 to go. And the leader obviously out in front is Trago. For how long, though? I got a feeling the second half is going to get a little wild as we close into the final 25 miles there. Bradley off 2.
Yeah, and that was a big jump there on the inside. That accordion effect that you have by jumping that restart that early, it'll create momentum on the outside. They got connected together very early. The 22 of Jason Blaney saw that, jumps up in front of the 48. Jeremiah Nelson now giving the push. They might make a stab at the lead coming off of 4. Here's the 54 out high. Alan Dobbs, your champion last season. He's trying to get it going on a third lane.
And here they come, working now off of turn 4. Blaney now to the lead. Blaney up in front for how long, though? Trego back to the inside. Nelson, Philbrick, and look out behind you. Up in the back. They're trying to stick it 3 wide as they work their way up against the safer barrier in turn number 2.
A lot of contact back there. You can see the sparks continue to fly. That settles down that 3 wide pretty quickly when you see all these cars grinding the diffusers off the back end. Again, it goes back to what I was saying. When this fuel burns off, this car probably going to get a little bit lighter. But right now, there's so much downforce all the way through these turns. You're snowboarding.
Yeah, watch
3 and 4
Wilson,
right
by
there.
the way. Yeah, we just saw Wilson a moment ago, and look at sticking through. It's going to be Thomas from the top to the bottom. As you saw the 21 of Wilson up the middle, and just like that, we go 3 wide and 4 rows, climbing the banking. Blaney leads him, and there's contact. Going in the wall goes the 21 of Wilson, and it all comes undone. Nelson going northbound in a southbound lane. The 18 of Frisbee collected, and the caution is out with 7 to go. You knew that patience was out the window, and that slip was gonna cause trouble. I really thought Thomas was gonna cause a wreck when he went from the top to the bottom, but you see the 9 into the 21, and that's all she wrote there.
Pushed up the racetrack there. That, again, goes back to the front end is dragging this racetrack. You have air disturbance all around you. Side draft, dirty air in front. One more time from our blimp camera. Let's see if we can back this up. But watch the 9. He's not doing anything wrong. He's just pushing up the racetrack. He's probably got that thing cranked to the left. And it just floats up there.
Yeah, I mean, where do you go? I mean, he's got nowhere. The 9 car, like, really, I just kind of question, well, what was Picklesheimer thinking? Maybe a little too aggressive there to get into the 21. And so many good cars right here. Bradley just got taken out because of that incident here in duel number 1 as we're under 10 to go. What is it, 6 to go? I mean, heartbreak for these guys, for sure.
Yeah, and with no fast repair, that puts a lot of drivers in a scenario where they're going to be starting at the tail end of this race come next week. So
no choice.
No choice.
No choice indeed, as we are under, again, another caution flag. I want to say this is our 2nd yellow flag now of QSR Daytona duel number 1. And again, you know, just a little too aggressive there a moment ago. And actually, you don't want to be bumping people in the corner, Bradley. We talk about that in reality or even virtual. You just don't want to hit somebody the way that we just saw. And it looked like Picklesheimer just a little too aggressive with the Wilson car. And then that just kind of caused so many other drivers to get caught up in an accident. Here's the race recap. You just saw it. 2 cautions, 3 lead changes now. And Blaney is now leading the race of the 22.
I'm watching the recovery here from the 110 of Jesse Gordon. Remember, he was the first car to go off the racing surface on lap 1. We hadn't even made it to turn 1, and he had lost all those positions. He's since worked his way back into the top 5, and I'm very impressed with what this 110 car has done. Of course, we had that yellow that put him back into a good situation, but he is mighty fine recovery for Jesse Gordon.
I want to send a big shout out to obviously QSR Simulations, and obviously they are the title sponsor for the Next Gen Cup Series. This again is the duels in Daytona. Next week they run round number 1 at Daytona, and of course it is a 20-week season. Should be some fun, exciting moments. You'll see obviously the big tracks, the short tracks, the intermediates, the road courses, the street courses, and so much more on the quest to the Season 3 title. All that coming up beginning obviously after the duels tonight, next Tuesday night on V-Speed, and obviously Bradley and myself will be there with you to call the action along the way. And obviously, Bradley, what's your take of the first half of this race so far here in Duel 1 in Daytona?
I thought the competition was pretty cordial. I think they were being polite to one another, but once they saw that first caution restarted there on lap 11, it all went out the window. And I think they need to get back to that mentality that they had on lap 1. Let's tick these laps away and focus on the big picture, which is next week. This race, isn't about winnings or points. It's about where you qualify. And this racetrack is notorious for drivers starting in the back of the field, going to the front. I don't think it's too much of a worry here for where we finish this one.
Yeah, I think I agree with you on that as well. We are, obviously just in the regular starting times of this one and just kind of watching to see what these drivers will do. Patience is a virtue. And obviously, as I mentioned, the old cliche to first win the race, you must first finish. And, we have 5 laps to go. There is an attempt at overtime. Will it be used for one attempt of a GWC? I got a feeling what we saw the last 10 laps. Bradley, yeah, lights off for the pace truck. I think we're coming to green, and we're going to see what happens with 4 laps to go. 10 miles remaining here in Duel 1 for next Tuesday's big race opener.
Jason Blaney, Austin Thomas, Jesse Gordon, Dylan Picklesheimer, and Alan Dobbs, your champion last season, starting in the top 5.
Top 5 right there. Of course, we'll give you a rundown of the top 10 as well, as that'll also be Alan Dobbs, Chris Otto, Ryan Philbrick, and hey, Chase Leahy's in the house along with Blake Giglio. Giglio led some laps earlier, Giglio, and then of course things changed there at the end of that most recent caution flag. We'll see what happens. 5 to go. The field will come back to the Geico restart zone to decide the final 4 laps, 10 miles of QSR simulations, duel number 1 here in Daytona. The field waiting for the pace truck to drop onto the pit lane. It will do so now, working off the 31 degrees of banking. Now entering that long 2,000-foot tri-oval as it works now down into turn number 4. Pace truck drops in right now. Here comes the field. What's left of it? Badly damaged a lot of cars are. Ready for Blaney to hit the gas. He's gone. Green flag over Thomas, over Gordon, over Trago. 4 to go now, Bradley, as they got to take about a lap to get up to speed, just like a real restrictor plate track in a next-gen car, Daytona, and they work up the bank into turn 1.
You can already see these drivers not wanting to work with one another up in this top 5. The 37 to the outside of Trevor Trago. And he's going to jump in front of Austin Thomas. Now the 110 of Jesse Gordon going for the lead down the backstretch. 22 of Blaney on the inside. Bobbing and weaving into 3.
Here they come, working through 4. There's a push. Trago into the back of the black and yellow car. Picklesheimer and Gordon now fighting for that spot. Blaney 3 wide on the bottom, blocking Picklesheimer, blocking Philbrick to the line. 3 to go as they send it off into turn 1. The double deuce of Blaney in front.
Down the 9 of Picklesheimer, going to put a block on the 110. He wanted to go to the outside. 37 doesn't follow him. And for the recovery, it might be going the opposite way now for Jesse Gordon. No, the 37 will move out to the outside. We're 3 wide down the backstretch. And there's Ryan Philbrick for the first time today into the top 3.
And he'll make that move, all that going on down to the inside. Blaney, a push, a shove, and we got caution, trouble. This will set up overtime. 3 laps to go. Bottom of the racetrack, trucks, cars in trouble. It is Leahy, it is Thomas. From the penthouse to the outhouse, now damaged with 3 to go, and this sets up the inevitable for 1 attempt of overtime in QSR Daytona Duel 1 here, Bradley.
We knew it was coming.
Wow,
we already said
I told you. I told you. I said it's going to happen, guys. Get the popcorn and Sony Pop ready. Here's a look at a replay. What happened? Thomas right in the middle of Picklesheimer and others. And then Leahy into the fence. Nowhere to go for Chase Leahy. Driver that's ran in the eNASCAR. Obviously, Coca-Cola Series, some Road to Pro and more. A talent, Chase Leahy is. So many others getting collected. And this causes a yellow flag for the 3rd time here now in duel number 1, and yes, overtime hangs in the balance next.
I'm seeing a little bit of bumping here into 3 and 4. And maybe we'll take that back for a moment. Not sure if it was on purpose. Maybe some drivers letting them know they're not happy with one another. But
Yeah,
all
look at that.
three of those
Oh!
cars. Just a domino effect. I mean, they already have front end damage, so it's not making it any better.
Somebody just chimed into the chat box, and let me say this. I quote, I love interacting with the fans. I'm a newbie on V-Speed, but I love interacting with the audience within reason. But Smoke014 just said, and I quote, "The number 9 needs some spiritual situational awareness lessons, I believe."
The spatial sound. Yeah, I think right now for the 9, it's more of just being a little bit too excited. We had an off season here for these drivers, and you've seen the intensity pick up, but I think pre-race, that anxiety of what's going to happen throughout this season, it all rolls out at the same time. For all these drivers, you build up that hype, you build up the excitement for this event, and as soon as that green flag drops, those emotions, those feelings, all of that just pours out of you into your arms.
And I think I said spiritual. Maybe he does need spiritual. I don't know. Spatial situational awareness lessons. As some of the people in the chat box not showing any love to the number 9 right now. Of course, the driver of Dylan Picklesheimer right now sitting back in the 12th position. Can he rally back to the front? That's the question. Obviously. Here's my thing, and Bradley, I take nothing away from Picklesheimer. I get it. You want to be aggressive. You want to get to the front. You've got no friends here in that Vans number 9, but it's too early for some of the things that we saw here in the early going of this race. You know, let's get to like 5 to go. Then you start to push it to the limit. Then you start to show what you've got. And then there's an overtime that hangs in the balance if you need to. A lot of good drivers, I think, are frustrated. Maybe even the audience that are watching a little bit here on V-Speed because of the antics of the 9 here for the duels. And it sounds like also, Bradley, that maybe this is not the first time he's done things like that because people are saying it's repetitive.
Well, I will say in his defense, in that corner, in that particular moment, the 35 was to his outside, came down a little bit down the racetrack. They were already 3 wide, so his nose was there. That in his defense. The incident before that, though, I think it was just a little bit of lift off the throttle going into 1, and you guys make it through to the other side. Yeah, it's I've watched Picklesheimer drive here in this series before. He's been, one of the original guys that have been part of the founding of QSR, so he's here to stay, guys. I know you might be frustrated with him, but he's here to stay.
I ain't going nowhere. Maybe a reprimand from the race director or something like that might have to happen. Maybe a series team or drivers meeting, maybe. What the heck do I know? I'm just a new guy. A green-white checker coming up. Now, let's give you the rules. 1 attempt at a green-white checker. This is how it'll go down. Phil to come back to the Geico restart zone. Just like in the Cup Series, they'll take the green flag. If at any point the caution comes out before the white flag is unfurled, it is considered an official race. Field is frozen at time of caution. Am I right, Bradley? And that determines the lineup. However, if the field takes the white flag, it is fair game. You race on, checkers or wreckers, to the finish of duel number 1. Let's strap in, my friend.
I think you got it pretty much down there. And for these guys, it's a matter of getting back to that white flag. Do we make it there? That's my biggest question is, do we have enough control here in these last 2.5 miles to go around and get that white flag? I don't know. I mean, we still got plenty of guys that have started in the back of this race. Big moves here for Anthony Burlington. He's gained 15 positions, wants to make it 5 more. He'll start here in the 5th spot. Pace truck pulls off. Here we go with Jason Blaney and Blake Gillio. Green flag is out. Green-white checkered attempt.
Blaney already with 2 wins in the series of QSR, 4 top 5s, 94 top 10s as he hits the green. Back underway. Blaney, Giglio down on the inside. Up top is Burleson. He's got down to the inside Wilson. And they are pushing and they are shoving and they are bumping. Somehow they hold it together. Giglio all under the back of Blaney, and they'll send it off into turn number 2.
Down that backstretch, you can see him already connected on that outside line. I got to wonder, does that 79 have what it takes? He's already gained 15, now 16 spots. He's got 3 more in front of him.
The Frisbee, the Interstate Batteries car, up on the high side. Dobbs in 54. My apologies. Working the outside lane. Nobody will go with him. Here they come to the line. White flag in the air. Giglio to the lead. He gets around Blaney. Wilson in second and third. White flag. This will race wreckers or checkers next time by into turn 1 there. And who's it going to be? It's Giglio up the hill as they work turn 1.
A lot of contact in the middle of this pack into 1 and 2. The 45 of Chris Otto stuck in the middle. The 79 losing the momentum. And it's down to Philbrick and Blaney with the push. The outside line of Giglio and Ruck Regal losing momentum.
Down the back straight away off the super stretch. The man up in front now is the 22 of Blaney. For how long though? The 06
Look,
pushing out
he's
of line. He
around.
made a move. He's around trouble. The 06. Oh, and they're wrecking behind him. They're crashing. The whole field is coming imploded. And look at this out of nowhere. Giglio's gonna win. Giglio's gonna win. Blake Giglio survives the demo derby off of turn 4 to win Duel 1 in Daytona. Unbelievable. The field imploded from the front to the back. And somehow, like the party to the Red Seas out of the Bible, Blake Giglio found shelter, moved up the middle, missed the chaos, and he wins Duel 1 in Daytona. Unbelievable.
I don't even know where he was at. I think he was somewhere back in 15th position when this all happens. And the whole field, from the front to the back, the whole field.
We have got to watch this again and keep an eye on Blake Giglio. He was literally not even in contention to win this thing. Watch him up high, and then all hell broke loose off turn 4. Look at this, and they're all bypassing him. Look at car spinning. It's like Days of Thunder virtual style. And somehow he gets through as the field still crashes and implodes off turn 4, and he wins. Blake Giglio in the Ford number 16 takes the victory in Duel 1 in Daytona. Hello, Wesley Outlet. Welcome to the world of V-Speed and Team QSR. Unbelievable.
It's going to watch one more time here. This block on the 06. He got to the inside of Blaney, but I don't think he was actually there until Blaney kind of checked up for that block. One more time.
I think Giglio might have got a top 5 out of the deal. Maybe that. The power was on the bottom. Look at everybody shifting on the inside. There's the push by the 06. And you knew it was going to happen. Pushing him. Blaney got turned below the yellow line. He comes up the track. The other guys take each other out. Look at this. Everybody. I'm talking about almost every car crashed out. Unbelievable. And when it is said and done, Bradley Cooper, the driver Blake Giglio is going to win this race over Austin Thomas, and Anthony Burleson going to get himself a top 5. What a heartbreak for guys like Ryan Philbrick and obviously Jason Blaney, but that's the game we play here. That's how it happens. Last lap, wreckers or checkers, and it got determined coming off of turn 4.
You're gonna watch here on board with the 28. It was another one of those from the back of the field. On board with Norman King.
Look. This is on board with a green machine. Norman King, watch this. There's the 9, Picklesheimer. And see, this time, guys, I can't say Picklesheimer did anything wrong. He's pushing, he's shoving, he had a gap. There you see the end result, and that's at the back of the pack, right? This is another secondary accident, if you will. Picklesheimer was just trying to go from the outside lane, got to the bottom, maybe got down there a little too early. And look at this, wow. Unbelievable.
I want to reestablish that I think someone in the chat, Smokey014, got what he wanted there.
Yeah, I mean, I think he said, what did he say, spatial and situational awareness. I think that's, that's kind of exactly what just took place. I wouldn't say Picklesheimer's at fault, but For people that wanted him to have karma, you see what happened to him at the end there. Boy, what a duel one, right? We're gonna look one more time. Here's the results. Here's the results of duel number one here at Daytona. And mind you, look at the finishing order and the drivers that were up at the top, if you will, Cooper, and then they're back and they're out of it. Giglio picking up the win, started fourth. He wins duel one. Thomas will start, I believe now, if I'm correct, is Giglio on the pole or did y'all qualify as well to set the lineup, or is this man on the pole for the race next Tuesday? Because if he is, it'll be basically 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15, 17, 19, and so on. Am I correct?
I believe you're correct on that. I believe this sets the entire field.
Okay, so Giglio is on the pole for the race in Daytona next week. Giglio, the winner over Thomas. Burleson will finish third. Really good to see Anthony Burleson, man. That's a guy I've called other iRacing leagues for, and sometimes he gets some bad luck, but what a good run for him. Wilson in fourth. Trago fifth. Gordon, Frisbee, Otto, Picklesheimer, and Bryant all in the top 10. And in some shape or form, before the accident happened to finish the race there, Bradley, some of those guys led or were competing at the end of the race.
Get back here to Blaney, who was leading the race coming to the white flag and came out of turns 3 and 4 for the checkered flag with that top spot. He's going to end up 11th spot. Alan Dobbs, the points winner last season, going to start back on the outside. Going to finish here on 12th position. Then 48 of Jeremiah Nelson, 13th here. Fred Pennington, 14th. Ryan Philbrick, 15th position. Ruck Regal in 16th. Leahy in 17th. Aaron in 18th. King and Dowdy. Early exit for these drivers. Some of these drivers on the race results weren't even able to grid here. I think Dowdy is actually making heat number 2. So some of these guys on the timing and the scoring made official starts here because they were part of the grid. They came out and ran some practice laps. So that a little bit broken, but that's ATVO. That's what it does for us from time to time.
Well, I'll tell you what, Bradley, let's go down to victory lane and join the duel one winner here at Daytona, the man in the number 16, Blake Giglio. Blake, I use the analogy, the parting of the Red Seas out of the Bible, found an open gap. It looked like it was going to be at least a top 5, top 7 finish, right? What's your take of what happened? And obviously you're on the pole for the big race in Daytona next week.
Yeah, that was insane there. I knew when I got the lead there, I think it was coming to the white, I think I had the lead, and I made the mistake in not clearing down. I think that was kind of a mistake on my part, and the leader started wrecking, and I was just trying to avoid it. I was up, down, left, right, and we kind of dented up the front end a little bit, but I'm sure we'll get that fixed next week, and we'll sit on the pole there for Daytona.
Bradley, you got any question for the winner, Blake, sir?
Well, I mean, we go back to that big incident there at the very end of the race. You dodge and weave your way through that, even went through the grass at the entrance of pit road. What was going through your mind when you saw the front two on that outside crashing?
Yeah, it was kind of scary, not going to lie. I was just kind of like, well, that was the only place open, really, was down there. So I dove it on down, and I think we got a little bit lucky, but that's part of plate racing, and we'll take the luck, and glad to open up the season here with the dual 1 win.
I don't want you to give away all the secrets, Blake, but what's the strategy, obviously, for being the P1 starter for Daytona for next Tuesday night? What do you do here for the race? The this is the sprint, right? The distance race is what happens next Tuesday. What's the keys?
Yeah, I think it's going to be important to keep your front end clean all night. Make sure you avoid the trouble, but I think tonight, was a good, I'd almost say practice in a way for what we're going to see on Tuesday. The bottom was really strong, I thought, all night, stronger than normal. So I'm glad we're going to be up front, starting on the bottom, and, I think we have the best seat in the house for Tuesday.
Sponsors, my friend, I know they're important. Go ahead and thank them.
Yeah, absolutely. We have everyone at OG Gear, Wanagoon, CDC, all those guys. Can't thank everyone enough. M9 Performance. You guys for putting on this broadcast. All my teammates in this race, Bradley there for giving me that push. So hopefully we can all work together here. We have a couple teammates in duel 2, so hopefully they can come across with a win as well. We can have Wanagoon's front row.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is Blake Giglio, winner of Duel 1 here in Daytona. Let's go to the man that's the runner-up of the race and get his take of things. That is, of course, the driver of Austin Thomas. Austin, you were up there. It was crazy. There was a lot of times where you were shuffled to the front, to the back, to the front, to the back. Somehow found daylight there when all that craziness happened. What's your take of the last lap and the race in general? You're on the outside well, I'm sorry, you're on the inside of the race, so you'll start third for next Tuesday's race in Daytona.
Yeah, it was a up and down race, that's for sure. I sat there and planned on just sticking to the back, just keep my nose clean. Worked my way up to the front, got a real terrible restart. They're on lap 18, I believe, and then just made a little bit of mistake. Got caught up into a little bit of a wreck. Went back to the back, got the damage fixed. Really just planned on just keeping myself clean, hoping something happened, and maybe I could get through it safely, and that's just what happened. So worked my way up through that big wreck and went mowing a little bit and got up there to the front.
Well, Austin, I got to ask you, this race started out choppy for you. You had started in the, I believe, 12th position, and already we were seeing guys get into one another. You had come down. We had a lot of people in chat upset with the 9. So what was your take on how the 9 of Picklesheimer was driving tonight? Any hard feelings on that?
No hard feelings. I think that it's just a 20-lap race. We got to be smart about it. I think we could have ran green the whole time, but he was just kind of throwing his car in there wherever he could, getting into people, door banging. And that's not what we're about. We want to, keep it clean and, but no hard feelings. We got to move on to next week and hopefully get a good outcome, at that race.
So, Austin, what is Shia LaBeouf telling you in the back of your head to motivate you? I say this jokingly. Is he telling you to get the Autobots ready? Is Optimus Prime coming to save the day? What's going on in the motivation behind Shia LaBeouf behind you?
Just do it, baby. You know what I'm saying? Just do it. He ain't really telling me nothing. Just keep it clean. He was pretty upset with me there halfway through the race, and then I had to turn around and look at him, and he just told me to send it. So that's what we did.
A couple of times it looks like he's trying to smack you in the head. It's like, well, buddy. Yeah. Well, listen. Before we let you go, please thank your sponsors, and obviously you're starting third for next Tuesday. It's going to be a good spot, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm super excited to start in the third place position. Bottom row, that's where I want to be. And of course, I want to thank 5 Hour Energy. That's who's sponsoring this year's vehicle. And I also want to say thank you to all the veterans out there. It was a truly inspired paint scheme. That's why we rolled with it. I want to thank the family at home that's watching. Of course, the Turn 1 Tsunamis, as always. Great team to race for. Great support from them. And it's going to be a great race.
Yeah, I was just going to say I found the applause button, so big props to the military as well. No doubt, my friend. We'll see you next Tuesday. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Austin Thomas. Started 12th, finishing in the number 2 spot. But remember, this race in Duel 1 is the inside lane for next Tuesday's Daytona. Lid lifter for Season 3 points, and he'll start third. Let's find the man that'll start 5th. Inside row number 3 for Sunday, and that will be the driver that is Anthony Burleson. Anthony, is so good to talk to you, man. I know on many occasions I've worked other leagues or other races and you've ran or you have some bad luck. Lady Luck was on your side tonight, wasn't it? Your take of the craziness that went on and keeping the 79 to get third place, sir.
Oh man, yeah, you're right. I had some bad luck last time I was talking to you, but yeah, we definitely I just lucked up into that, man. I had a good restart on the outside of the second row, but I got shuffled to the top and went 3 wide, and I just couldn't get any help. But it worked out in my favor because I shot back to the bottom, got to the inside lane, got myself back up there, and then boom, the wreck happened. And I had my teammate Justin Clapper just talking me through the whole wreck, so it just worked out in my behalf. So it was awesome. Glad to be up here. Glad to finally get a podium. It's been forever.
Well, Anthony, I was looking through these stats here, and you're kind of new here to QSR. So first time seeing you drive with these guys. What was your take on the first experience here for QSR simulations?
I mean, honestly, got a couple guys weaving. Didn't really check the number, but I mean, other than that, I mean, a lot of guys race very respectful. They hold a good line, good pushers. I mean, I was very happy with it.
Well, Bud, I'll tell you what, you're starting fifth, and I think as many races I've called that you've ran before, Anthony, I think this probably might be your best starting spot for Daytona or any race in general. How do you feel about that, and what's the mindset to go and try to win this thing next Tuesday, sir?
Just try to stay out of trouble, keep my nose clean. That's what you got to do here. Pick your spots. It's pretty much a big chess game. So hopefully this season goes a little better than last season. Always was right there in the top 10, but last 10 laps, something would always happen. So just get past the last 10 laps, I think, and I'll be okay.
Well, buddy, before I let you go, man, please thank your sponsors, and we'll see you next Tuesday, sir.
Absolutely. Thank you to Kubia's Tackle. They've been with me since start, and Bo Condon at RL Productions. Been trying to get him up here to the podium for a while, so thank you, Bo.
Anthony Burleson, ladies and gentlemen, will put the car number 79 in the third position. He'll start fifth, by the way, for the inside lane after, of course, Blake Giglio, Mr. Thomas, and Burleson finishing on the podium in dual race number 1. What we're going to do is step away. We're going to have a little quick musical intermission, grab some popcorn, snacks, run to the potty, grab you a drink, get ready to stretch your legs, and come back. Duel number 2 when we return on deck. QSR Simulations Duels at Daytona, presented by Wanted Goons. We are back on V-Speed in just a moment.
to Josh Adams.
I just got three things to say. God bless our troops. God bless America. And gentlemen, start your engine!
Back here at the World Center of Racing, the Daytona International Speedway, as Daytona hosts the duels. We welcome you back to coverage of the QSR Simulations Next Gen Cup Series and the Goon Squad's duels at Daytona. Duel number one was wild, chaotic, crazy finish. Blake Giglio will be on the pole for the inside of Daytona's big race next Tuesday. The only question remains, one more 20-lap 50-mile duel coming up. Who will be joining him on the outside of the front row as winner of Goons Squad duel number 2? Welcome back. I'm Wesley Outland, Mr. Bradley Cooper alongside. Here's the information, just like duel number 1 for duel 2. 20 laps, pit road speed, 60 miles an hour. Do you pit or not? That's a lot of the question marks we had at the first one. Tire sets are available if you choose to. One attempt at overtime. It did get used in the first one. And of course, 100% fuel can make it where they can go on fuel. And this is an iRacing fixed setup. Bradley, me and you were joking. Well, I won't say more jokingly. We were chatting during the intermission, and one of the things we said is, normally when duel 1 is crazy, chaotic, wild, the second duel kind of calms down. Or we might just throw that all out the window. I don't know what we're going to see for the next 50 miles and 20 laps coming up next.
Well, I was mentioning there in response to that, a lot of league admins are in this duel, so I think this might tame them down a little bit. You've got guys like Ethan Wisnowski, Quentin Stewart, and Austin Dowdy that are in this heat, so it's going to be a little bit different of a story. If you get into one of those guys, you're going to set the standard. First impressions last, both in real life and on the sim. So you get into one of those guys, they're going to be watching you under a microscope for the rest of the season. You got to do your best to avoid those guys.
By the way, this is just the start with the duels. This is a nice appetizer, as I said, coming on the air to get you ready for the main course for round number 1 of a 20-race season for season number 3. Quentin Stewart, we had him on early. We might try to grab him again before we go off the air. And the fine folks that are with the V-Speed Sim, at V-Speed Sim on X. And, of course, you can also find them on the World Wide Web as well. And there's a look at that schedule that we were referring to. And obviously the key is to go 250 miles next Tuesday night. To do that, though, to make your way through the end of these duels, and the better you can start your position. I've always said this, Daytona, Talladega, maybe you can be in the back and you can win. I'm not saying that you can't. But with that said, these duels, if you can get a pretty good solid starting spot, get up in front, not be in the snake's patch, as my good friend, Mr. Excitement, Jimmy Spencer used to always say, Bradley, don't be stuck in the middle. Get to the front or get in the back. Just kind of ride and drive before that big race next Tuesday. I think we're going to see that here for the second duel. We'll watch what goes on. Obviously, the endurance race is now because you've got 50 miles, 20 laps, and I promise you it's going to fly by very quickly, my friend.
Absolutely. It did on the other one as well. And, you run out of time, you start getting into that green, white, checkered mentality. And that's why that intensity picked up so high. But now setting here for grid, we've got 22 cars ready to go. And here we go for duel number 2. Grid on the screen. And starting up front here based off of qualifying, it's going to be the number 12, Davis Greenwell, will start on the top position with Justin Clapper to his outside in the number 63. There's your front row for duel number 2. Row number 2 belongs to Johnny DePasquale. John Freeman will start in 4th position. Then it's back here with Ethan Wisnowski and Al Likens for row number 3. 7th position, Tay McDonald. Ryan Field will start in 8th. And rounding out your top 10, it's Matthew Montgomery, Galen Wunsch in the number 199.
Moving on to row number 6, it's Mitchell Costner in the 92, Jared Ziegler in the 57. Row number 7 will find Wyatt Walker in the 85, Brent Allen in the 13. Row 8 will find John Walker and Quentin Stewart. Of course, the man with QSR Simulations. We spoke to him earlier. And moving on to row number 9, Austin Dowdy, Levi Outfits right there, Opitz in the 00. And the final row, we'll find Tristan Pena and Austin Thomas. So that is where we are for the lineup of another 20 cars ready to battle for the outside starting position for the duels here in Daytona. Again, obviously the field will be ready to roll. They're pacing. We'll catch them here for a moment, and they will be looking for a green flag. We'll go ready to go 50 miles, 20 laps. And it looks like the lights will be off on the pace truck. They're coming around for a green flag start here in just a moment here, Bradley.
Absolutely are. And if you have an opportunity here, we've got a little bit of pacing left to be done. I'd like to get a chance to interview one of these guys that's a new name in here, Justin Clapper in the 63. If you could find him for me, we can bring him up into the broadcast booth. I think I'd like to get a word with him.
Yeah, let's see if we can grab him very quick for an interview. They are on the super stretch. And Justin Clapper, somebody that I've interviewed and talked to for many times before. Let's see if I can track him down with Mid-Pack Motorsports. We'll bring him in the booth very, very quickly. And hey, Justin, it's the broadcast booth. You got a copy? You ready to go for duel 2, buddy?
Oh man, am I? And it's good to hear your voice again, buddy. How you been?
Hey, buddy. Yes, sir. I've called some many big races and wins for you, and I'll tell you one thing, the Mania Club 63 is no stranger in winning at super speedways.
No, it's not, man. Hope we can get us another duel win here tonight.
Bradley, you got anything for our buddy before he straps in to go? But I think it's go time.
Yeah, I think it's go time. Go ahead and shout anybody out you want right now before you hit this green flag.
Shout out to Mania Club and the Champions of Hope Foundation for all their support, and Mid-Pack Motorsports and all my teammates. Let's go do this thing.
There you go, Justin Clapper. Awesome group of people, by the way, Mania Club, and that's on board with him. And ladies and gentlemen, we'll see what he'll do. There's the eye on the track. V-Speed getting ready for the Goon Squad Duel 2 in Daytona. Here they come to the line. Let's see what happens as we break the action for another 50 miles at the World Center of Racing. We're green. Of turn number 2, halfway down the back straightaway. That's the super stretch. Greenwell over Clapper, falling back a couple of spots. DePasquale, Wisnowski right there behind them. We are single file on the bottom lane. The outside lane tries to form with the outside starter of Clapper, but he just can't form a line and get down below the 24 as they work lap 1 here, Bradley.
Yeah, 63. fell back about 7-8 positions. Now continuing to fall as he's back in 8th position. Didn't get much help there on the push. He'll drop down to the inside, but it's a little bit too late for him to gain anything. 3-car thought he was going to go with him, so he'll settle out nicely here in 7th, and you'll see Al Likens fall back a little bit.
Work their way to the back straight away. Look at this move down. Di Pasquale right there on the bottom. Looking to climb and make a move on Greenwell. Greenwell up in front as they work the opening lap. The 5 now, Wisnowski right there in front of him as you're on board with the man that gave him a punt of McDonald and Costner. Lions, all this is going on, and through the tri-oval, keep an eye on the 92. Costner on the bottom behind Clapper. Clapper finally to the inside as they work into turn 1.
There's the 85 machine of Wyatt Walker, sponsor of the QSR season last season when we were bringing the noise. Walker Ridge Plantation working his way up to the top 10. Up 4 spots where he began. It looks a little bit more settled out here compared to the last one.
Patience right now as we watch these guys working their way back around the corner again with Greenwell, Di Pasquale, Wisnowski, Ziegler, Clapper, top 5. Bradley, if you can you give me the scoring telemetry again on the screen, bud? I don't have it. I just have their last name as Greenwell back to the inside. He'll power back to the bottom. There's that news radio entry. Does anybody remember news radio? Yeah, that was a TV show back in the day. And right now, Di Pasquale right behind Greenwell as we get side by side again. It's right now the early leader Greenwell again on the back stretch.
Watching some of these guys shuffle around, trying to find if that outside, that third lane can get going. The 24 for a moment there of Matthew Montgomery. He's trying it, but just can't get that push. It's unstable once you get up near that wall, and the 42 had to back off of him. John Freeman just not willing to chance it this early as we're a quarter of the way through.
McDonald now comes up to the P1 spot. Likens will be right behind them on the inside of Greenwell's car. They're side by side. Di Pasquale and Montgomery now door to door. And that's going to be like full song behind the pace car. Now disappeared to the back straightaway. They're door to door. You're on board with one of those drivers now. The leader, McDonald, that's Tay, working into turn number 1, and he ain't on Route 66 either.
Can you imagine going that fast down that stretch of road? I mean, these guys are going over 195 miles per hour right now, and he is locked in focused. I don't think he's blinked since we put the camera on.
Just wondering if you caught that or not. Get your kicks on Route 66
Yeah,
right now. He is currently right now hitting his marks, leading the way. Went from the inside lane to the outside lane. Watch now, Greenwell led a couple of laps earlier. Down to the inside. Likens gives him a shove in the black and blue red number 3. Push for McDonald. Here comes Greenwell. Back to P2. Everybody stacked up with one another as you could throw a blanket over the top 20 going to turn 3.
Driver of that number 1 car, Johnny Di Pasquale, he was a fan favorite last season. He started late, wasn't eligible for the championship, but did get a win last year. He's having a connection issue, though, right now in that inside line, third in line there in that 1. When a car blinks out here on the service, the car behind them loses draft and could reappear inside of that guy when he comes back. It's just a slight little connection glitch. And if it happens anywhere else, Wesley, you know this, it's not a big deal. But here at Daytona, where you're glued to each other's bumpers, that car blinks for even a second. That could spell trouble for everyone behind.
You're exactly right. And right now we're kind of watching all that take place as they work another lap around the racetrack. QSR Simulations, Next Gen Cup Series, Goons Squad, Duels in Daytona. Ethan Wisnowski, you're on track. Eye on the track on the top right. There's the man right there in 5th. He started the race right now in 4th, and he's just having a nice drive here as we're coming up on halfway.
Big shove to the back of the 1 there as they went into turn 1. And I think Ethan's just ignoring that the 1 car was blinking the last time they went through that portion of the racetrack. Gave him a little shot there to try to get it going. But right now, it's follow the leader all the way back to around the 8th position.
Big thanks for y'all joining us of the QSR Simulations Next Gen Cup Series on V-Speed. Of course, follow us on our social media platforms. Big thanks again to Quinn Stewart Racing and Walker's Ridge Plantation for some of the sponsors of the series. Again, Goon Squad sponsoring the duels. And right now, Calm, Cool, Collective. But I got a feeling though, Bradley, a storm could be brewing right now as we watch that battle continue in the top 5. McDonald, Greenwell, DePasquale, Ziegler, Cosner, and they're up the hill again on the 31 degrees of banking in turn 1.
On board with Matthew Montgomery, and you can see the outside losing a lot of ground. The 5 of Wisnowski stepped out of line from the top 5, and he has since fallen all the way back here to around the 13th position. I gotta wonder if these drivers are kind of sandbagging on purpose, maybe not liking what they're seeing, and we don't like it here on board. Lap 9.
Man, I spoke too soon. Likens and others, the 8 Snap-on car involved, a Dowdy Fiel in the 81. Oh, boy. I literally jinxed it. I'm sorry, Bradley. I have a habit of doing that.
It's that curse of the commentary. Heavy front damage. The right front broken on the 8 of Dowdy. He was around mid-pack here. I think he was actually around the 6th or 7th position when this all went on.
So I wonder, Bradley, as we look at a V-Speed instant replay, is it the car? Because I noticed some people in the past have said in other broadcasts that I've covered with the next-gen car that these cars are hard to handle. I know they've tried to work on updates, some good, some bad. Is it the car? Do you think it's the handling? Or is it the driver just making a mistake here?
Well, we've noticed that a lot of these incidents have happened from the inside car to an outside car. It hasn't been really so much pushing that's causing the issues. It's more that they're getting into each other's doors. We're going to watch this one more time. It happens up ahead of Dowdy. We're going to watch with the 63. This was about the place that it happened. But watch going into this corner. I think it's the setup.
That's what I'm thinking too. I'm just being blunt. Yeah, I think so also. Ken TV chiming in. He says, just a request, maybe restart trading paints. I don't know if you can restart trading paints while you're right in the middle of a broadcast, buddy.
I can try.
I think it's what we have is what we have. I think we're going to try again here as we show you another look at an instant replay. But I will tell you this. I work for a lot of other sim iRacing broadcast leagues, and trading paints has been having a lot of problems lately, so maybe they can get it fixed and we'll get it straightened out. But thank you for letting us know. As caution out for the first time. I will say this though, we got a lot further racing in, Bradley, in duel number 2 presented by Goon Squads here in Daytona before we had the caution here in the start of things.
Oh, we got our first caution somewhere around the lap 5, lap 6 mark. Then we had another caution right there at the halfway mark. This one's kind of delayed compared to what we had our first caution, but it's also setting us up in the same scenario we were in the first duel, where we got to the halfway point and then things just got absolutely chaotic and everyone trying to gun from the back of the field back to the front that had gotten caught up. This one happening at the tail end of the field. You got to wonder if maybe the tires, the fuel, maybe that's part of the factor as well. We were talking about the setup. Maybe that's portion of why these guys are having handling issues and the race starts to deteriorate later on.
So we are going to step away, take a break because we are under caution. I don't see signs of any front runners heading down to the pit lane. That's where we are, the virtual world center of racing. We're going 250 miles next Tuesday night right here on V-Speed for the QSR Simulation Next Gen Cup Series, and the Goon Squad Duel 2 second half returns when we come back after the break.
Josh Adams. Back here live at Daytona. I'm sorry about that, Wesley. Eye on the track. We're back, ready to go. They'll pass the halfway mark. Duel number 2 with Tay McDonald leading them into 1.
Man, sorry about that. I didn't mean to step on you either. We're back underway. Second half of this race. I think we got 7 laps to go as they come back to the green flag. And obviously right now we're seeing Tay McDonald lead the way. There he is in the 29. Greenwell, he led a couple of laps earlier, now back in second. And Pasquale up to third. Greenwell after McDonald as they work the backstretch heading to 3. Oh, baby, a little pushing and shoving. Watch the yellow and black car up the middle. We updated some of the training paint colors, hopefully. It's working properly again. Was that Quanish? I believe it is. Roomish in the 199, I think, possibly. Right now, they work and shuffle off the corner, yeah. And right now, Tay McDonald holding off Greenwell. And now Ziegler getting into the top 10. He's going after Stewart and Pena as they work in 2 there, Bradley.
Has no help, though, on the outside. He's going to have to pull this side draft. He's doing a pretty good job so far. He's going to work up 2 or 3 spots. Then you see that momentum just breaks, and now Galen Wunsch, the 24 on the outside, he's going to work his way up here. That's Matthew Montgomery taking it 3 wide into 3 and 4 with the 42, giving him the push.
And a big push upstairs. That's Montgomery. Stewart, keep an eye on the QSR simulation entry. The QSR 99 on the move. There he is to the inside in his Toyota. He'll now try to climb into the top 5. Right now, they're in a conga line on the inside. Montgomery up top behind the 99 and 1. And you're on board now with Montgomery. Big Jeff Gordon fan from back in the day. And he is currently, right now, sitting in 7th. Started 9th, and he's on the outside of the leaders.
Back up to where he started this race. You know that it's going to be frustrating when that outside isn't working. You can see all that real estate in front of you, and you can't go anywhere with it. You have the 42 glued to your rear bumper all the way through the corner, and you just can't make any headway. And John Freeman has been pushing the hell out of Montgomery. I'm surprised he hasn't turned him.
Yes, sir. All this going on as now keep an eye on Montgomery going after Stewart again. 2 for 1, maybe going after Pena. All this goes on as they work again off of turn 2, heading down the super stretch. That was your eye on the drivers and your eye on the track on V-Speed. And right now, it's Tay McDonald trying to hold off the virtual thundering herd, snoring, roaring, growling at him as they work into turn number 3.
Five laps to go now, 4 when they cross that stripe. Tay McDonald so far has commanded the lead. He's commanded this field on the inside line, and it's more of what we saw in duel number 1. We talked to your winner. Giglio said it. The inside felt fast. It felt strong. No one has been able to overcome the momentum on this inside. And you got to wonder, the 12 backing off, that might be an opportunity for the outside, the 24, to get up here and maybe sneak away with the lead.
And you're watching some of these guys shuck and jive from the outside lane to the middle lane. There's the 57, that's Ziegler. He did just that. Shut the door on Montgomery and Freeman. They couldn't go anywhere. Now they're stuck on the outside. Likens in the Goodrich number 3, throwback of Earnhardt. Up on the top as well. They work into the corner. It is McDonald. We are coming to 3 to go. We are nearing the end of duel 2 here for the drivers at Daytona. What a show this has been, and we're hearing where this will determine the outside of the front row for next Tuesday night.
Still a lot of mileage left to go though here, Wesley, and you're watching it start to pick up. Guys are running out of time, and they know that that's happening. what can they do about it? Well, they might have to start putting their nose where it doesn't belong, trying to move a guy up the racetrack. And I know that sounds crazy at Daytona, but if you have no other options, you might wait for a guy to push up the racetrack. Because of this setup, they are gravitating towards that outside wall. And you take that little peek into the entry of 3, maybe you can get next to him in time. We saw it at the tail end of the race. It didn't work out for some of these guys that tried it. And then it's back
like
again. Ziegler,
Wow,
50
look out,
Pena.
trouble.
Wow,
Yep,
nobody
you're
really
exactly
hit him.
right. No caution. They did throw a caution. Maybe a little premature on that one, but they did throw a yellow flag, and because of that, duel number 2 here in Daytona is going to overtime, as just like duel 1 was. Strap in. Here's a replay. You saw it happen there, Bradley, coming through the tri-oval.
Just a bad touch there from the 57 of Ziegler to the back of Tristan Pena. And for the most part, these guys avoided it. But I think iRacing just throwing the yellow because there's a car sideways on the racing surface, it's enough to trigger that automatic caution on board with Pena. And you'll see the contact going in to the tri-oval. Let's watch back here with Jared Ziegler. And it's just an innocent push, but it's enough to upset the handling. He actually had got a little bit to the right rear.
Yeah, another look at it again here. Wanting Goons duel number 2, only the second caution of the race. But because of it, it will set up an overtime finish. And my question is this now, with 17-18 completed, do you come down to the pit lane? Is track position more important than obviously getting 4 new freshies and going for a finish here? You know you're going to have one attempt at an overtime. That's it. That's it, Bradley. So what do you do? What do you do? And the first man that will make that decision for many is Tay McDonald in that 29 behind the pace truck.
We have some of these guys that have already brought it down pit road about 9 laps ago. John Freeman, Nathan Line, and a few others. And I was trying to get some contact there with Nathan Line. His camera has went out, and we no longer have the feed with the 38. But McDonald, decisions. I think you stay out here, especially if you're in the top 5.
Well, we're getting ready for overtime. You strap in because it looks like nobody's committing to pit road. The overtime finish of Duel 2 in Daytona. Coming up next when we come back, we're determining the outside lane for next Tuesday night's Wanted Goons Duel 2. The finish, the checkered flag, when we come back at Daytona.
Just got 3 things to say. God bless our troops. God bless America. And gentlemen, start your engine!
5 champion Bryce Shoemaker is going to take the victory 128 laps without a pit stop.
Donnie Kite's going to get through it all and score his first career win.
Saturday Night Racing lead and throwback at Charlotte goes to Josh Adams.
The lights are off on the pace truck. Welcome back to Daytona. V-Speed coverage of the Wanted Goons duels in Daytona, duel number 2. Bradley, what do you think we're going to see? Are we setting ourselves up for another encore of what happened at the finish in duel 1, my friend?
I really hope so. I hope we can finish this one under green, give these guys a fair shot to gain their positions. But what I don't hope for is the entire field to implode. That happened out of turn 4 the last time, and we saw a driver from the 7th, 8th position drive through the field. We had guys that were out of this race with damage that ended up in the top 5. I hope that they can stay clean and green all the way to the start-finish line and see a photo finish at the very end. Tay McDonald has been dominant so far. You got Davis Greenwell right beside him here. Let's find out.
Ready to settle it again. Don't forget, next Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, we're live, 250 miles, 100 laps in Daytona. And it is also going to be the competition for the paint. Best wrap job. Hopefully Trading Paints will be working 100% as we go back to green. We're ready to settle it here. It's time to bring the action in the overtime. Duel number 2. Who will it be? Tay McDonald leads him into turn 1 over Greenwell. DePasquale and Justin Clappers right in the dog hunt in 4th in 1 and 2.
And Greenwell drops down to that inside. A wise move there after he had that start. There's actually Tay McDonald, correction on that. He dropped down in front. He got a good enough jump. If he had stayed outside, I don't think he would have a shot. 2 to go, but just about 1.5 laps out of 3 and 4.
To find the white flag. Here they come, working off of turn 4. Tay McDonald, and they're spinning behind him. They're wrecking in the back. Race director says no caution. It's down below the apron. The white flag is out. The race will come to a 1 to go. Final time. McDonald over Greenwell in turn 1. Wreck in the back happened below the racetrack. They say it's fair game. Final time in 2 there, Bradley.
29 at Tay McDonald. He has the lead right now. Can he do the same and hold it? He's got to protect that bottom. Ziegler's around in the background.
And Ziegler spins, we still stay green. Tay McDonald holding on to his spot. Greenwell, Clapper, top 3, about a half a car length back behind the rest of the field. We're 3 wide. They're sticking it off the fence. They're crushing behind them. The 5's in the wall, and Tay McDonald's gonna hold off Clapper and Greenwell to win Duel 2. Get your kicks on Route 66, but don't forget to take the checkered flag in Daytona 2, my friend. Tay McDonald leads 21 laps from starting 7th, and you're starting on the outside of the front row for Daytona next Tuesday as well. Eye on drivers, eye on track. Tay McDonald wins Goons Wanted Duel 2, and what a finish it was.
They made that one under green. I didn't think they were going to. I saw the 199 of Galen Wunsch go around there just before the tri-oval, and I thought for sure that would trigger a caution, but he went down below the yellow line off the surface. And
Drink on me!
Yeah.
Oh, he is going to burn it down and drive through the grass. No, you're right, though. And Bradley had me to cut you off, but I was going to say this. Props to the race directors for not throwing a premature caution. Let them race. I know we had the spin in the back. They got to the bottom of the apron of the racetrack. I think that would have took the finish away. And I think Tay McDonald was still going to win, but it really set up a dramatic finish at the end, leading 21 of the 33 laps, 23 laps, if you will, by starting 7th. And what a phenomenal job. Got to give props to Greenwell and Clapper. They were all there. We're talking to them on the podium coming up next. But, you know, listen, Tay McDonald literally just had to hold off everybody behind him, and he did just that. I know we saw Ziegler spinning. There was another incident that kind of been questionable, if you will, but when he spun to the bottom of the racetrack there, Bradley, they said let him race. Watch this again. I thought you were showing the last lap. Watch this one more time. This is coming off the corner to the white flag. There's the first shot. As you mentioned, Bradley, the 199 Black Rifle Coffee Company, by the way, going around. That's fair game. And then they work your way into turn number 1 and 2. Ziegler gets a little push, a little sideways, but he drops down to the inside below the double yellow line, and they said, okay, it's fair game. That's the reason why, right there. If he would have turned back into the pack, no doubt the caution would have come out. But the thing was also, though, Bradley, they had already took the white flag, and it set up this monster finish.
Yeah, the 199 there off the field, off the track surface as well. And then it was 3/100ths of a second across the line. And watch right here as they cross over. It is a close finish.
Look at this. There's Greenwell patiently as the 5 is in the fence. The other car drives down, puts some cars in the grass. But look at Greenwell in the number 12 up high. Justin Clapper, he has no choice but to give a push to Tay McDonald in 29. And that's the way they finish at the end of Goons Wanted Duels number 2 at Daytona. Here's another look at it again. What a solid moment for the driver of the number 29. Here's the one more time to the back straightaway. Watch the 12, Greenwell. And you know what, Bradley? I got to give props to the 12. That was fair racing, good racing. He didn't try to bump him or take him out. Neither did Clapper. Just good race for the finish right here. Look at this again. So close. Clapper pushed to the 29, and that did it right there. Now, if Clapper would have went with Greenwell up high, maybe Greenwell would have got him because he would have left Tay stranded, or was Tay strong enough to keep on going? We'll never know, obviously, Bradley, but in the end, Tay McDonald picking up the victory. We're getting ready to go to post-race and get the thoughts of these guys, as we'll grab Tay McDonald, Mr. Greenwell, Justin Clapper, all of this coming up for the Goons Wanted Duel 2. By the way, this will set up the outside lane for the race. But first, let's take a look at the results. We will grab them here in just a moment, but here is your results of Duel number 2 here in Daytona. Tay McDonald over Greenwell. There it is by timing and scoring. Clapper, Justin Clapper will finish 3rd from starting 2nd. Walker 4th. Phil will finish in the top 5. DePasquale, Likens, Stewart, a top 10. Pena, Montgomery there. Bradley, the top 10 here at the end of Goons Wanted Duel number 2 at Daytona.
Nathan Line will finish 11th of 38. Down a little bit there, but still up from 22nd position. Made it halfway through this field to finish in 11th. Then it's Mitchell Costner going to finish 12th position. Levi Opitz will put the 00 in 13th. John Freeman, remember, he was up front there just before we had that caution, and then he'll finish in 14th position. Ethan Wisnowski, he was up front a little bit as well, came from around the 4th or 5th position and never could recover back to the top 10. Brent Allen, rough day for him, down 2 spots, started in 14th, he'll finish 16th. Then it's Jared Ziegler. Remember, he went down the backstretch to the inside. Austin Dowdy, 18th position, early exit for him. Galen Wunsch also into the inside wall. And it's the number 84 of John Walker, 15 laps down, rounding out your field here tonight.
Both of the duels in the Goons Wanted Duels in Daytona had to finish in overtime. And when it's said and done, Tay McDonald, have a drink on me. I think we're going to go eyes on driver, eyes on the track. I think we've got him on camera. Congratulations, Tay. What a phenomenal job. 21 laps led, started 7th, and what an overtime finish, holding them off. Congratulations, and obviously you deserve that squig of adult beverage.
Thank you. Yeah, it kind of helps me ease the tension, I guess, because there's a lot of tension out there running them, 200 miles an hour, I guess. That was a lot of fun. That was probably the most fun I've had super speedway racing in a very long time.
You've got Greenwell, you've got Clapper behind you. You're going to overtime. You had a really good car for most of the race. What was the mindset knowing that you had that one overtime, and were you happy with the comfortableness of the guys behind you, the way they raced you to the finish?
Yeah, absolutely. The 12 and I think it's the 63. I was expecting. I told my teammates coming to that restart that I was expecting to get wrecked, and they were phenomenal. My first race in the league, and I respect the hell out of those guys already. So the 12 was pushing me all race. He did an awesome job. I really appreciate him, and then the 63 giving me that final push there at the end. When the 12 ducked out and tried to get it for himself. So yeah, just awesome race. I'm really excited for the season.
So, Tay, with this finish, you'll be on the outside of the front row, positions 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, and so on for the position for next, for the outside for the race. What is your thoughts of starting alongside, obviously, the front row, and what's the key to survive 250 miles for next Tuesday?
Well, if you start in the front, you want to stay in the front. It's not. I'm a little more comfortable starting in the back and kind of just letting the race come to me, but we're taking a different approach this season. We're going to try to run up front and see what kind of noise we can make. And yeah, just Daytona 500, stay up front and make some allies. I haven't raced with a lot of these guys, so still getting a feel for who everybody is and how to race them. So I'm excited. Let's go.
Well, Bud, before we let you go, Tay, please thank your sponsors. And obviously, at the end of this thing, man, a win. I know it's a non-points win, but it's got to be a nice, refreshing moment to know that this is what you'll see for the QSR Next Gen Series to come, buddy. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, I'm excited. I just want to thank, McDonald Lawn Care LLC. Thank my grandma Linda. Thank my teammates at Hypersport, Waylon, Chris, and Tristan. So, and thank you guys at QSR, the admin team, for putting this on. I had a lot of fun. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, the wanted goons. I think I said goons wanted. My apologies. Sorry, guys. It's my first time working with you guys, Ken TV. The goons wanted, the wanted goons. I did it again. The wanted goons duel 2 winner. When it's all said and done, the man of the number 29, obviously, Mr. Tay McDonald. Big congratulations to him. He will start on the outside of the front row. Let's grab now second place driver, and that is the man of Mr. Davis Greenwell in the 12. He's standing by with our Bradley Cooper.
Yeah, down here at the post-race, Greenwell, I got to say, that was a mighty fine strategy you had there. You put a lot of trust. Tay McDonald in front, probably hypnotized that you're going to stick with him the whole time, and you step out there at the very end. Just not enough there. That seemed like this car is just not good on the outside line, even though you had the momentum.
Yeah, pushing all day, that's where I'm comfortable as a number 2 spot, just because I know how to manage the temps, bring them up whenever you need, trade that temp for speed, that sort of thing. Got a lot of control in that second spot, but, got to go for a move at the end, try and get the win.
Well, you step out there out of turn 4, and the excitement, it was 3 100ths, just rounded up to 4 100ths of a second. Basically, excuse me, from the A post of that car, you could see the checkered flag right in front of you. But nonetheless, you're going to be starting in the, I believe, 4th position going into Daytona next week. What's it going to take to maybe get the win where it counts the most?
Yeah, I like the 16 car from the first duel, and I think we'll work well together. So starting up near him, I think that should work good for us.
Absolutely, it should. And you guys worked together pretty well here tonight. Davis Greenwell, I got to ask you, anybody that put this number 12 car on the racetrack here tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. Got to shout out one of Goons, OG Gear, oggear.com.au. Check it out. and all the boys. That's all.
Davis Greenwell going to start on the outside in row number 2. Thank you for your time, and we'll see you next week at Daytona.
Thank you.
Justin Clapper will join us now. He'll finish in the number 3 position. We actually got his thoughts before the start of the Wanted Goons duel number 2 here in Daytona. And I do got to ask you, Justin, are you happy with the outcome? Cars in one piece and are pushing, shoving the race. I mean, I've called a lot of your races before, and sometimes you get the short end of the stick, right? Sometimes people burn the candle at both ends, and it don't turn out good for you or other people for that matter. But what's your take of the way things finished for duel number 2, and obviously 3rd place for you?
I mean, honestly, everything went as planned. Obviously, I got a little bit of a small panic there when I got shucked back right off the start. The top side, just both duels seems to be very weak unless you got more numbers on the outside. So the bottom is where you want to be. But man, for myself and a fellow teammate to both finish 3rd in both duels, we're really happy over at Midpack Motorsports on how our night went. For me in the 79. So looking forward to next week for sure, and starting in pretty decent. I mean, obviously we want the win, but top 3 and being able to talk with you guys is pretty damn close to that. So it gives us a good feeling and a good start next week.
Justin, I kind of placed the scenario that if you might have went up top with the 12 of Greenwell, he might have beat McDonald, but McDonald really had a good car. What made the decision to stay with the P1 guy and not go up top coming to the finish all 4?
Well, Wesley, you called this race. That's gonna gave me the reason why I did this. If you remember the race I won last year at Daytona, doing that move and ended up taking that guy out. So I kind of just took it conservative with it being the duels, knowing it's not really a points race or anything. That let's just kind of file in line. And I thought, that was my best shot to get one spot ahead, to maybe finish 2nd. I just saw. And it's kind of how the race went. You ducked at that outside. You wanted to go to the bottom. You were guaranteed to gain a position. So going to the outside, I maybe could have helped him out. I kind of just fell in line and got where I felt I was going to be comfortable and guarantee myself a podium. And the 29 was ahead, so I figured, might as well try to get him across and get us all 3 of us across the line clean, without a last lap crash. I love a good super speedway that ends on a green, and you don't see much of that anymore.
Justin, final question. Segue this into thanking your sponsors as well. We've known each other for a number of years in all the esports I've called. And why is this series different than the others? What makes you, what's your mindset moving into the big show for next Tuesday?
Yeah, man, I got to say I'm very impressed as someone who ran a pretty big league myself for a number of years and kind of moved it off to some of the leagues that you've called now. But what I really like is their professionalism, and they're quick with it, and they're very relaxed in how they go about it. There's not, I haven't noticed yet any high tempers. It seems to really be smooth, and when there is some last minute stuff, there's not major frustration, and everything gets done. And it seemed that there's a lot of trust amongst the drivers. I know there was a little bit of a hiccup with fast repairs tonight, and on the fly they were able to come up with something to counteract that. So I love that, and I love seeing our admins put as much effort in as we do to put a show for them. So super stoked to run this season. My teammate Chase Leahy's hyped this up for some time, and I'm really excited to get out here with these guys, man. I've been freaking itching to get back on here, so I'm really stoked.
Well, buddy, before we let you go, thank your sponsors, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Mania Club and Champions of Hope Foundation, mcchamps.org. Donate today, raise money for cancer research for pediatric cancer. So thank you guys for everything you do, and thank you QSR, and we'll see y'all next week.
I got to ask you one question. Speaking of Mania Club, has a lot of people turned on supporting John Cena since he became the jerk he's become now, in WWE?
I'm one of them. Yeah, just I was one of the ones that had the high hopes, but I think they need somebody in the writing room because it's been pretty stale, if you ask me.
Yeah, I hate to say that. I never thought I'd say this, but Vince Russo, we need you back as somebody, seriously.
Ooh.
Vince McMahon, too. Regardless of what he's done, bring him back, right?
Yeah, as long as you get a lot of toilet paper, I guess.
Thank you, Justin. I appreciate it, buddy.
Hey, always fun, buddy.
We got off track there for a little bit about wrestling talk, but I know he's an avid fan. And people, if you don't know what the Champions of Hope and Foundations of Hope and obviously Mania Club is, it's really big, and they do a lot of stuff with wrestlers, doing things for kids and charity for helping them with cancer. Well, Wanted Goons duels in Daytona are done. Bradley Cooper, it's been a pleasure working with you, my friend. Looking forward to being able to be with you guys for at least the next couple of, at least 6-7 weeks of the season, unless I have a real broadcast obligation, and maybe I can make more. But obviously, a fun time tonight. This is your deal on VSpeed. Thanks for everybody having me, and I'll let you close us out. Let them know what's to come, and we'll see what happens in Daytona next week, sir.
We have plenty of racing left here on VSpeed. If you haven't yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications, and you'll never miss a single race. So we have flag-to-flag coverage of all of QSR, and we'll be back here at Daytona in 1 week's time at 8 p.m. Eastern. You can catch us here on VSpeed. Check us out at VSpeed Sim and at VSpeed Sim on X. But for everybody in the background and our other producers, Adam Baker, all that he does for putting this together, our other producers, Eddie Smith, Morgan Cook, Logan Threlkeld, and, well, I had him for a second, Lucas Lyons. There we go. This is Bradley Cooper for Wesley Outland and everybody here at VSpeed. So long from Daytona for the duels. We'll catch you next week.